Yes.
Excellent. All right. So pepper varieties for the home garden and any garden you have. So fun facts about peppers. They belong to the capsicum species and they're members of the Solanaceae nightshade family, which is the same family as potatoes and eggplant, tomatoes, and petunias. So that is something to continue as you're planning your garden, is the fact that these are all in the same family, and then therefore they can all be prone to the same disease and spread the same types of disease. So if you have a chance to rotate things in the soil, it's just good to keep that in mind. They are technically berries, which I thought was fun. They're annuals here, but they are perennials in Central America, Bolivia, and Peru, living up to 10 years. Green bells and green peppers in general are typically actually unripe peppers, and peppers will ripen to a color if left on the plant. Pepper plants will do best if they're staked or supported. Some people put small tomato cages around their peppers, which works well for me. Others I have heard of putting a stake in the ground and stringing along on the outsides of the pepper plants so that you can just support the branches as they grow up. And most peppers are classified according to their shape and their degree of mild or hot flavor. So peppers generally prefer full sun with at least 6 hours of sun per day. Well-drained loose soil with moderate organic matter. And every seed packet that you look at should have the specifics for your pepper variety on it. This will vary from pepper to pepper, or pepper plant to pepper plant. These are just the basic general guidelines. They are a warm weather plant, like average moisture. They like to have pretty steady moisture, so they don't like to dry out and then get a big deluge, that sort of thing that can cause blossom end rot and other issues. You want to make sure that your soil has thoroughly warmed when you're setting out those transplants. So starting seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks prior to your frost date, or when you think your soil will be warm enough, is the typical rule of thumb. I personally start my peppers mid-February because they do tend to be slower growing than a tomato, and I like to have a bigger plant to put in the ground if I started at home. Spacing it varies from, again, variety to variety, typically anywhere from 18 to 36 inches per plant. And they're a light to medium feeder, but too much fertilizer is an issue for peppers. And then mulching, of course, can help conserve water and reduce weeds. So we'll start with sweet peppers. And this is a huge topic. It's an unbelievably huge topic. And it was really fun to go through and ask a couple different people what their favorite varieties were and do some of my own research on the different varieties. So if you're looking for just a typical bell pepper, they're the mildest peppers. They're the most familiar in the grocery store. They typically have that blocky square to rectangle shape, 3 or 4 lobes, and they will typically ripen to red to orange or to yellow, though some hybrid varieties will ripen to purple or like a nice maroony brown. We'll see some of those. And so on the left of your screen, there is the Red Knight, and on the right is a Sweet California Wonder. These are very classic, thick-walled, that nice acidity when they're green, that sweetness when they're red, meaty bell peppers that will ripen to red. Now, when we move into some other colors, oh, I should say, I apologize. The California Wonder, there are varieties of California Wonder that will also ripen into yellow or into orange. All of them California Wonder, just with different color names. These, and as I go through, you can see I've put where a resource for the seeds. I tried to go through and pull from all different places. You know, Johnny's Seeds is a huge agricultural seed provider. So they are not, they're right now, right this very minute, I believe yesterday and today, open to home gardeners for orders. But they are mainly serving, because the seed demand is so high, they are mainly serving the commercial growers right now. That is their bread and butter. But I have Burpee, I have Southern Seed Exchange, High Mowing Organics. There are so many places. I personally have bought seeds through Seed Geek on Etsy. So there's lots and lots of different places that you can source out seeds. And oftentimes, if you see something that really strikes you and it's not in any of the main known, well-known seed providers, you can do a Google search and find some to purchase. So the Sweet California Wonder, I personally bought my seed through Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, but here you can see there's a source for it on Burpee. So many different companies offer the same varieties also. So we have a nice orange bell here. This is an early orange bell, which is nice if you have a shorter growing season. The sweet chocolate bell, which is one of the heirlooms I was talking about, or I'm sorry, one of the hybrids I was talking about. Excuse me. I'm in the middle of something, honey. It has to be really important. I'm sorry. Okay. I apologize. They're in watching a movie, but it must have been a boring part. So these are a green to dark maroon, medium sized. I have found the chocolate bell and the purple islander over on the right there to be a thinner fleshed and a thinner fleshed pepper. They are less acidic than a true green pepper, but they still have more of that bite than, say, an orange or a yellow or a red. So bell peppers are not the only sweet peppers, and then we start getting into the shapes that are very reminiscent of hot peppers and tend to kind of freak people out a little bit. But these are all sweet peppers. The Corno di Toro in the middle, the red, is a traditional Italian roasting pepper. So these make such a good roasted red pepper, nice thick walled, the skin peels off easily. And then we have the orange pepper on the left is a nice sweet pepper that's great for grilling. This shape is really nice for grilling and stuffing, that sort of thing. And on the right, a banana pepper. And the banana pepper is great pickled, if you like a sweet pickled pepper. And then novelty peppers, as I think of them. These are super fun, still all sweet peppers. So the red cherry pepper on the left is actually shaped like cherry, and the taste is reminiscent of a cherry. The ones on the far right, the habanero, are actually a habanero pepper, but they've figured out a way to take out all the heat, and you're just left with that fruity floral flavor that a habanero pepper exhibits, and they're just wonderful. And then the Lunchbox mix, we're seeing more and more of those in the grocery stores now, and they're super fun to grow. This is actually a plant that will grow the 3 colors, this particular through Johnny's, but you can also just buy seed for just the Lunchbox reds and that sort of thing. And these are just so fun to throw in the Lunchbox to have as a quick snack, and they're wonderful to slice in half and to stuff as just like a little appetizer sort of thing. All right, so moving into hot peppers. So hot peppers, the degree of pepper is determined by the compounds called the I have trouble with this word every time. The capsaicinoids. These are not only determined by the variety of the pepper, but the growing conditions can determine how spicy a pepper is. So cooler weather produces milder peppers, hot, dry weather produces spicier peppers. The longer the fruit is on the plant ripening, the milder pepper can be, but there are ones that are, the longer they're on, the hotter they get. And so this is a fantastic, fun graphic to show you just how hot a pepper can get. So I will say, I have a farmer friend. He is on Instagram. He is Farmer Chef Casey with no punctuation or anything like that. He is my resource for hot peppers. This man grows all different kinds of hot peppers. He sources to No. 1 Sons and local places like that. He actually makes his own hot sauces. He is like a true chef as well as being a farmer. He and his wife are managing the farm at Sunnyside in Rappahannock County up until this past season, and now they're moving into Loudoun County, and I'm excited to have him closer again. So he this is a list he had compiled a while ago, and I chose from that list. And this is a pared down, believe it or not, a pared down version of his list of peppers that he loves. So the shishito, again, has become very hip in the last few years in the farmer's market scene, in general, in the foodie scene. These peppers tend to be sweet, but the average is 1 in 10 will be spicy hot, and you don't know what you're gonna get. And these are fantastic, just blistered heat in a pan, wonderful. You have the pasilla or the holy mole in the middle, typically used in mole sauce, wonderful in Mexican dishes. And on the right, you have a poblano. It is an ancho when dried. And these are ones that the red fruits are hotter than the green ones. I grow these every year, and last year I let them ripen to red, and I was surprised when my fingers burned after cutting them. So they really were much spicier than a green. The Guajillo, this is still considered a mild heat. We all have to keep in mind that mild to spicy is a relative term. I know people that can tolerate without an issue taking an entire jalapeno, biting it and chewing it like a regular green bell pepper. I am not that person. So the Guajillo is one that dries really nicely. So you can use it to make chili powders and that sort of thing as well. Anaheim, very popular in Southwestern Mexican cuisine, great for salsas, great for stuffing, and that's got the sweet heat. So it's got a sweet flavor and then gets spicy on you. Hungarian Hot Wax, we know these are the hot wax peppers that are great for pickling. And they start out as that kind of a lighter color, and then they can get more orange and red as they get more ripe. The jalapenos, this variety is called El Jefe. Jalapenos are considered medium spiciness. So now I feel like we start to get to understand, because I don't want to sit and eat a jalapeno. It's too spicy for me. But jalapenos are really versatile as well, you know, and you take out the seeds and the ribs, and it's less spicy than if you leave them in. I love to do a pickled jalapeno. I can it with just a vinegar salt brine. And those are really nice to put on your nachos or that sort of thing later in the winter. Small red cayennes. These are more of a traditional medium to strong heat. These also are great for drying so that you can make some chili powder. Then let's see, Serrano is going to be a little bit hotter than a cayenne. Great for hot pepper vinegar, pickling, chili, salsas. And these are smaller than a jalapeno. The Serrano pepper is a smaller sized pepper. The Thai hot pepper, we start to get into the fiery hot category right here. These are easily dried. Excuse me.
Do you know what Jackson got?
I need you to let me finish here, please. Great. Can you please go? Thank you. As soon as I have a screen, they're fascinated. So this is a elongated red chili. You can use these both green and red. And these are also wonderful for drying. Let's see, then the chocolate habanero is really fun. And they've come up with a lot of varieties of chocolate habaneros in the hybrid world. The chocolate habanero is, it ripens green to brown instead of the typical bright orange that we see. And instead of the super fruity flavor in the typical habanero that's on the right, this actually has a nice smoky flavor and gives a really good different flavor to hot sauces or any dish really, but it's great for a hot sauce. Like, it just adds such a nice touch. And it's also really wonderfully easy to dry, and then it can be used in dry rubs and that sort of thing. So I listed I hoped you could see them. It's a little funky, I will admit. I listed underneath each of these where I found the seeds. I am happy if anyone would like to just create a list that I can send along with the actual links to the seeds themselves, instead of just the list to the company where I found the actual seed. But really, the world of peppers is enormous. And this is such a small sampling of what is out there. And it's really fun to experiment from year to year, to maybe grow a couple of varieties and trade some with your friends, and to just try different kinds from year to year. All right.